Hello, my name is Rebecca Hoy, and for my Week 3 presentation, I'll be walking you through my analysis of the 2009 negotiation between Universal Studios and Steven Spielberg. In 2009, Steven Spielberg and Universal Studios negotiated Spielberg's consulting deal he had with the company at 2 theme park locations in Orlando and Japan. The initial deal was agreed upon in 1987 and was supposed to end in June 2010. Quote, under the contract, Spielberg receives a flat fee and a percentage of the revenue of movie or television-themed attractions in exchange for advising the theme park resort and working on other projects around the world, end quote. That deal made Spielberg a creative consultant for the theme parks and also was exclusive, so he was unable to work with rival parks, Disney. In 2009, the negotiations were to keep Spielberg on as a creative consultant for the parks until 2017. Due to the financial standings of Universal Orlando pre-Wizarding World of Harry Potter, paying him a lump sum of hundreds of millions of dollars may have crippled them. According to Variety, the stake in Orlando Park alone is said to be worth more than $250 million. The bargaining positions for each party included time and money. Universal requested that he stay on as consultant until 2017 and continued to pay him quarterly and not one giant lump sum. Spielberg negotiated an increase in money, originally receiving 2% of all gross revenue generated each year, and the new deal upped that to 5.25%. In 2009, 2%, it was estimated that the payout was $50 million, and that did not include the park and Universal Japan's property. The underlying interest for Universal was buying time and saving money. It is debatable on whether or not the parks would exist or still exist without the use of creative content and consulting from Spielberg's films. They have whole lands dedicated to his films such as Jurassic Park, E.T., and Jaws. In 2009, Universal was also in $1 billion in debt, and on top of that would have to pay out Spielberg hundreds of millions. Keeping Spielberg on also means potential collaborating in the future and not giving Disney the opportunity to work with him, especially while they were partnered with DreamWorks. The underlying interest for Spielberg is the potential earnings and work in the future. Universal had announced the opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and at the time were in talks to build in 3 international locations. Although Spielberg was making a good income on the deal and would have received a large payout, the potential to make even more and work on more projects was promising. With the success of Potter and large growth and increased revenue, I think it's safe to say he made a good choice. Backup plan, mutual benefit, and power. These 3 negotiation techniques were present in this negotiation. As discussed in Week 1 lesson, part of a backup plan is also considering what the negotiation is on the other's end and if there is any news about the company to consider. Spielberg knew that Universal had partnered with WB and had acquired the rights to build the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Being one of the most successful book and movie series that made billions of dollars, it was guaranteed to be a moneymaker. Why would Spielberg get off the train now? At the time, Spielberg was a partial owner of DreamWorks, which was partnered with Disney, and with Universal knowing that, they knew they had to keep Spielberg on board. The mutual benefit gave time, money, and creative consulting and outlets to both parties. There was a balance in power in this negotiation. Spielberg's films made up many areas and attractions in the park and brought a lot of revenue to the company. Universal also had the power of not just being a theme park, but one of the largest entertainment companies in the world, where Spielberg could benefit from his relationship for his personal projects. These techniques helped both parties come to an agreement. In this negotiation process, I believe what went well was highlighting the win-win situation if they came to an agreement. Knowing the outcome would be mutually beneficial, it made the negotiation probably easier since it was not a lose-lose or a win-lose situation. In this negotiation, although it was mutually beneficial, besides delaying indefinitely when they will have to pay Spielberg the lump sum, besides him being the creative consultant, they didn't really get much more out of the deal. Yes, they did keep him from being able to work with Disney, but I think they should have taken the opportunity to talk about new films or areas in the park he can help develop. Harry Potter really brought the parks back to life, and while his movies featured in the parks are classic, in terms of drawing a crowd they are pretty lackluster and not as popular as the newer attractions. In this negotiation, agreement was reached. Instead of having to pay a lump sum to Steven Spielberg and ending his contract, they agreed on extension until 2017, and payments would be continued to make quarterly. Luckily for both parties, an agreement was reached that led to the long-term and meaningful relationship. Not having to pay the lump sum in 2009 helped Universal out financially, and Spielberg was able to continue to consult for them and recently expanded the Jurassic Park franchise with Jurassic World. NBC Universal also recently purchased DreamWorks, which was being used by Disney, owned by Spielberg, and now in the parks at the Universal Resorts. NBC Universal CEO Steve Burke said, "DreamWorks will help us grow our film, television, theme parks, and consumer products businesses for years to come." Overall, this negotiation went extremely well and was mutually beneficial to both parties. If this would have failed, both Spielberg and Universal Studios could have been in very different situations now. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation.